Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm Will Dragon, and this is Suzerain, where we are playing the President of Swordland and trying to make this country great once again. We've had a rough couple of decades, but we will bring this country and put it back on its feet once more. We have recently just decided to budget, and we blew our budget beautifully. And, yeah, we've got a few other things on the go. We've invested in one of our gas companies. We've got a high-speed railway on the go. You know, there's a few things here and there, and hey, let's see what we can end up doing. Of course, we're hoping to see some good results and some good returns soon. Otherwise, this is going to be very hard to justify. Benfey Regional Airport overcrowded. About the capacity of Benfey Regional Airport, the mayor of Benfey is preparing to put a request forward for an investment to build an international airport in the city. Yeah, there's not going to be too much investment happening right now. As I said, we beautifully blew our budget. Burgian Special Zone Security has reported the discovery of a large-scale religious network of the BFF that encompasses all cities in Burgia. Under the guise of state-sanctioned priesthood, the BFF has recruited hundreds and possibly thousands of Golkondist worshippers to join the militant group and converted hundreds of Nurity worshippers to the sect of Golkondism. Well, since most of the police officers don't speak British, it would be difficult to find the actual ringleader priests of the network. Okay, so we have like a potential kind of coup thing going on down here. Zero Water reports that the current education institutions in rural regions of Swordland have been largely neglected. As part of her analysis, the literacy rate in Swordland currently stands at 80%, while in rural regions like Narbal has a literacy rate of only 64%. Needs improvement. Hey, we have plans to improve it. Let's not panic. We've just gone and invested some money. We also have to deal with Gassam to specifically improve that region. Central Bank of Swordland issued a damning warning regarding the extensive government budget deficit that has occurred in the first year of the administration. The potential consequences for irresponsible economic management were highlighted. Yes, I know. General Staff has performed analysis on our borders to assess our military defense capabilities against potential Rumburb attack. The results show that our military equipment is outdated and needs replacement as soon as possible. Our border would be broken through easily, leaving the primary regions of Swordland exposed. That's not going to happen, is it, ladies and gentlemen? We also have some external reports from Morella. I don't think I've heard much about these guys yet. Security agencies in Morella have reported sighting an unidentified object close to the Kinali border. The object was flying at high altitude and at very high speeds. Currently, there is no clarity on what the object could be or its potential implications. Some intelligence officers indicate that the sighting could be a potential CSP low-orbit satellite. Close to the Quinali border. Public of Quinali. Okay, so we've got potential funny business going on down here. And up here in Agnola, they started a new oil drilling operation very close to the disputed territory of Helgeland. Tensions increased when the situation turned into a standoff between the Vagslandian and Agnolian warships. It took several hours for the gridlock to be resolved, and the situation was de-escalated for now. Well, if it's close, it's not in the disputed territory, so I feel like they should be allowed to carry on. An unusual encounter, former President Sol's open hospitality. In an unexpected encounter, local fishers were invited for a tea by none other than former President Tarquin Sol himself. The seemingly ordinary exchange revealed a side of Sol seldom seen in public life. His humble and warm hospitality, even after his tenure, shines a light on the strong community spirit within Juro Island. 54-55 season ends. FC Gelsword claims the league title again. FC Gelsword emerged the undisputed champions once again. Throughout the season, FC Gelsword showcased their unwavering dedication and formidable skills. The valiant runner-ups put up a strong fight until the very end, playing their own brand of thrilling football. Can imagine remove the 11-point difference between them. Geopolitica. United Contana's Congress addresses State of the Union and revolutionary expansion. They've recently hosted a massive Congress, bringing together representatives from all states to address the State of the Union and discuss a significant political decision concerning the concept of permanent revolution. Arcasia fires the M4 ICBM. The first successful Arcasian intercontinental ballistic missile test, which was conducted at a military site at the Nuam Atoll in the middle of Oceania. The fired missile, codenamed Missile 4, flew several thousand kilometers towards the direction of United Container before crashing down at sea close to an abandoned radioactive Rostov island. Indicates that Arcasia wants to send a message to the United Container about island bases in the middle of Oceania, while displaying the Arcasian military technology has advanced. Prime Minister Alvarez of Lesbia invites Pales, offers support amid tensions with Rizia. In a show of solidarity, Prime Minister Alvarez of Lesbia visited the Grand Duchy of Pales and its leader, Axel Reinhardt, to affirm Lesbia support in the face of mounting pressure from Rizia over the disputed gas fields. As part of the A2 alliance, Lesbia has offered assistance to Pales in resolving the ongoing gas field dispute. I'm sure Rizia is very happy about that. Valgslandian Navy forces Agnolian drill ship to retreat from Helgeland. Said an Agnolian drilling ship was driven away from Valgsland exclusive economic zone in the Nemerlander Sea recently. Said that such activity will be dealt with swiftly and sturdily. Ship entered the area without Valgslandian Navy's prior permission. They said the illegal occupation of Helgeland does not give Agnolia the right to claim the seas. Our stance has been that if you do anything in our region, you have to notify us or take our permission. The Navy chief said at a press conference without elaborating further on the incident. Since 1950, there have been a permanent presence of Valgslandian Navy in the Markian Sea region, mostly in the form of anti-piracy force. Experts are concerned about the Agnolia's increasing forays around Helgeland, which they believe may trigger a heavy response from Valgsland. Well, that's the current news, and now we have the Workers' Rights Act. Section 1 of this bill sets the groundwork for fair compensation by establishing a minimum wage of 2.5 Swedish Ren per hour. This serves as a benchmark for fair and equitable pay, ensuring that no worker in Swordland is compensated below this rate. Section 2 addresses the issue of excessive labour, setting a maximum limit of 60 hours of work per week. This provision aims to prevent worker exploitation and safeguard the well-being of Swordish labour force. Section 3 introduces a concept of double overtime pay. This stipulates that any work performed beyond a 40-hour work week will be compensated at twice the normal hourly wage. This incentivizes fair work practices and ensures employees are duly compensated for their extended efforts. Section 4 focuses on worker safety and the humane work conditions. It mandates that employers must take all necessary steps to protect their workers from occupational hazards and ensures a dignified and safe working environment. This promotes a culture of respect and care within workplaces across Swordland. Section 5 extends these protections to migrant or undocumented workers, granting them the same rights as Swordish citizens. Employers who fail to abide by these rules will face substantial fines from government, and persistent non-compliance will invite legal action. I like how this costs me one government budget when it's all sanctions against workers. I don't know what I'm paying for, which is interesting. I also would like to kind of redact this a little bit because I like number 1 and 2. I would, for now, to be honest, I remove section 3 simply because we've already limited the working rate and put a minimum in. Like, let's not push it too far, in my opinion. You know, we're stepping forward. Let's not attempt to, you know, tip the boat over. I like number 4, and I also like number 5. So it's just number 3 I would probably take out. Because, yeah, I think minimum wage, maximum hours, etc., you know. Because who states that a 40-hour working week is the maximum you're allowed to do? I mean, that's a concept that we made up. And so, like I said, yeah, I would, you know, I'd take that out. With all of these changes coming in, I would take that out. And it's interesting how I cannot dispute it in any way. And like I said, it's also interesting to me how it costs me one government budget. Because I don't see how I'm paying for anything here. I also don't have any budget, but hey, let's sign it. -7, alright. Stat decreased government budget. Increased employment costs. Improved working conditions, workers' rights reform. Let's have a quick look at that. Commission has definitely passed a comprehensive labour rights reform, introducing significant improvements to the working conditions of employees. Situations. Increased employee costs. The expansion of labour rights in Swordland has created new costs for businesses, resulting in increased expenditures related to employment. Whilst this is a positive element for promoting fair and equitable working conditions, it may also create challenges for businesses in terms of their expenditures, which is why I wanted to take out that kind of middle ground point, just to help out a little bit and not push it too much. Improved working conditions, because it still would have massively improved working conditions, and it would have been a workers' right reform, very much going in the right direction. Workers' Right Act has been signed into law by President Rain after the approval of the Grand National Assembly by a majority vote on Monday following a 6-hour debate. Rain signs Workers' Rights Bill into law. One spokesman for Nedham Mining Group has accused President Rain of acting impulsively with the bill, saying it puts too much weight on the businesses. See what I mean? This is, I wanted to hit a middle ground. It looks as a public move after the terrible mobile mine disaster. The new law establishes a minimum wage and sets a ceiling for the maximum amount of hours on top of new regulations for companies. So most of the point, yes, Nedham mining industry. Yes. After that mining industry, it's probably actually a good thing we put that into force. Current proposal. Haven't had any news on that yet. It looks like we've got no countrywide or region-wide, area-wide bits of news. Regional investment decision. An evening walk with Monica. Budget allocation of law enforcement. Let's start with the two decisions. Gus Mango and Simon Hall have prepared an extensive regional investment package to revitalize one of top 3 economically fragile regions by boosting the municipality. Providing large sums of business grants and giving cheap loans to companies with liquidity problems. The proposal can be implemented in one of the following regions. We have Bergier here. We have Lorraine up on the top right, or Angland next to Agnolia. I don't think I can afford to spend the extra 2 government budgets, so we're not going to invest in this, which is going to hurt and probably have a lot of people attempt to kick me in the teeth. Budget allocation of law enforcement. I was in my office reading reports from the ministries about the current situation of the protests. My next central meeting was about law enforcement budget with Nia and Lilius. I heard some knocks on the door. Nia entered and took a seat in front of my desk. Lilius was absent. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Lilius will be late. Apparently there was an urgent matter at the Ministry of the Interior she had to attend to. Shouldn't take long. What's the urgent matter? She said something about supply distribution for the police forces. Nothing major. I returned to my reports and Nia smoothed back an errant strand of her hair. There was an awkward silence. While we wait, why don't we have a little chat? This may come off as a little strange, but I am proud of you. Despite everything, you are actually trying to reform the country. It's we. Well, thank you. You certainly have a way with words, don't you? Words are just words, actions are what's important. And you seem to be doing well at both so far. Pros are cancelling out the cons for sure. She leans forward. The cons are being, I have no budget. How are you really holding up, Anton? Being the president, I mean. That's the best thing I've ever done in my life. I can imagine so much responsibility and so much power at the same time. I want to assist you and the country as best I can. And to do that, apologies, folks. Had to crazily sneeze. I want to assist you and the country as best I can. And to do that, I have an idea. We need to eliminate the worst problem we have. Corruption. She's getting her words in early. And how do we do that? It's high time old guards and the Supreme Court stop holding the country in the palm of their hands. That's what I want, to form a new unit, the Anti-Corruption Police. That is my idea. What if the Anti-Corruption Police gets corrupted? What then? I'm still figuring out the details myself right now, but of course, there would be safety mechanisms in place. Also, one more thing about Lilius. I wouldn't trust her if I were dum-dum-dum. Almost jumped in a chair. Lilius Graff entered the room. Mr. President, Nia, I hope that I'm not interrupting your conversation. Not at all, we were just discussing a few things. I'm sorry for being late. There was an important matter at the ministry. Security forces of Bergia are arbitrarily not cooperating with my department and creating some minor annoyances. Unfortunately, due to my limited authority in the special zone of Bergia, I cannot control their operations. Luckily, they didn't completely botch their tasks and actually uncovered a large network of priests that are recruiting Burgians for the Bluish Freedom Front. Do you want to explain more? The issue was a miscommunication about an ongoing investigation inside Bergia, but as I said, it didn't affect the results in a negative way. The investigation itself, however, revealed some troubling facts. We suspect the existence of a massive network of BFF-aligned priests currently serving in Bergia. We have discovered that most of the existing Galcondist sanctuaries and communities inside Bergia are indeed working directly for the BFF. Several reports also point to a possible infiltration of the Dast Nurists and Werhasist communities by these Galcondist sects. May the Divine God forgive us if this is true. Thank you for the brief report. Lydia took the seat next to Nia as she continued talking. Well then, let's go straight in. We will provide a brief update on the situation of law enforcement. Go ahead. Nia? The Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Court is working in close collaboration with the Ministry of the Interior to address the protests in the city. I must admit that thanks to the hard work of our judiciary, the law enforcement forces assigned to my ministry are doing their jobs efficiently. I would call it the success of our forces on the ground, not due to judicial branch of our government. Lydia shot Nia a brief, withering glance. As expected, the budget increase has boosted morale of the employees in the law enforcement agencies. In these dire times, my people and Nia's people are especially delighted. This came as a pleasant surprise to many in the Ministry of the Interior, since it was not even one of our campaign promises. And for that, all I will say is bravo. This was an excellent decision. Agreed. At the Ministry of Justice, we are very happy with the decision as well. The backlog of the court cases are dwindling, and we have started to fulfill the needs of current situation. Certainly a step in the right direction. I did what was expected of me, that is all. Well then, let's move on to what we are actually here for. Due to the budget increase, we can start doing much more as the main branches of security in Swordland. However, a decision has to be made about the budget balance between the Ministry of the Interior and the Ministry of Justice. Exactly, when deciding, you must look at the bigger picture. I believe you will make the right choices and pick the Ministry of the Interior. What if I decide to balance the budget? Balancing the budget won't help as much. The current situation clearly demands that a decisive choice be made to benefit the nation. We need to focus on one ministry to achieve tangible results. Of course, what would make the most sense in the current situation would be to support the much neglected Ministry of Justice that would improve the legal system in Swordland. Tell me, Nia, who brings the criminals before the justices? Let me answer. The police forces connected to the Ministry of Interior. Each day, stacks of legal cases are piling up for judges. Cases for corruption and criminals are delayed due to a lack of funds. Seems to be an organizational issue, not a funding one. The Interior needs the money for more for the police and local governments. So I know I'm going to pick the Ministry of Justice anyway. The Ministry of Justice to reduce the court backlog and improve the justice system. Ha! Bad decision making. Get out of here, Lilias. The right choice. It was time the Ministry of Justice got the funds it needed. Brief moment of deliberation passed. Lilias got up from her seat. We must return to the Ministry of to implement necessary changes. Very well. See you soon, Lilias. I need to have a few words with Mr. President. Here is my proposal. Corruption has always been a major issue with any government. It is the root of all evil. That's why I'm proposing the formation of an anti-corruption police. As a sub-branch of the Ministry of Justice, the ACP would be given full authority by the presidency to investigate corrupt government officials and citizens. This would especially come in handy when dealing with corruption in higher positions. The Supreme Court and oligarchs that meddle in politics are just a few examples. If you accept, this will give our administration the ability to deal with corruption quickly and decisively. Very well. This is something I actually wanted to do. Now, assuming that she doesn't turn out to be corrupt, which she is held in a very high regard by most of her peers. So I'm hoping not. You are making a good decision. After a good decision today, Mr. President, I will be in touch. Nia got up and left the room. Like I said, I'm hoping increased justice funding. That happened. Situations. Anti-corruption campaign. We should launch an extensive and comprehensive campaign aimed at combating the rampant corruption prevailing throughout the country. The campaign aims to bring justice to those who engage in corrupt activities, to strengthen the judicial system, and to create a culture of transparency and accountability. I'm hoping that helps with the general budget. Efficient justice system and positive judicial personnel. Recent increase in the justice budget has had a positive impact on morale of judicial personnel, leading to an increase in respect for the government's efforts to improve the justice system. And unfortunately, we have here anti-corruption police. Now that's good. That is good. The anti-corruption police are operating under the jurisdiction of the esteemed Ministry of Justice, assumes a pivotal role in combating government corruption and upholding the principles of integrity and accountability. Wait, we have something over here. Bludish Freedom Front using schools to recruit and train militants. Was discovered to be acting as a hidden facility of the Bludish Freedom Front, where they employed methods of Bludish nationalist propaganda and military training. It is suspected that the BFS has been using rural schools all around Bergia to recruit and train students for their cause, as it involves the indoctrination and recruitment of young individuals into a violent and extremist organization. Yes, it is very worrying. I'm surprised, I really am, because we're almost about a year in, that I've had really nothing to do with Bergia. I mean, there is what seems like a pretty dangerous potential terrorist group on the rise in recruitment in religion and now education throughout this region. We also have a government that's kind of very much in control of its own forces kind of thing. And, yeah, it's weird how I've not really had anything to do with it. Protesters target sacred symbols. Sacred figures and symbols of Dast Nuriti, I don't know why that suddenly became so hard, included Saint Dast himself, have become the targets of vandalism as protests continue across Swordland. What initially began as a protest against the murder of Bernard Circus in January turned into rioters forcibly tearing down monuments of former Swordish politicians, saints, and other figures. With double-digit unemployment and plunging economic output, the recession has been a reality for far too long. But if there was any remaining doubt that Swordland is in recession, it has now been removed by an announcement from the Business Council of Swordland. In the announcement, the council pointed to the unprecedented magnitude of the decline in employment and production. The economy shrank by 2.4% in the last month, and lost further value against the Arcasian lira. Richter calls president to action. Head of Swordland's main opposition party has said President Ray needs to address issues like term limits and electoral thresholds if Swordland's democracy, freedoms, blah, 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 go away. Smolak condemns Arcasian soldiers in Lesbia. Criticized Lesbian government for bringing Arcasian soldiers close to the border of Wellon. Last month, Prime Minister Alvarez and President Walker agreed on the construction of several military bases in Lesbia that would attain Station ATO soldiers. With the arrival of the first Arcasian soldiers to Lesbia this week, Wellon's stance has become increasingly hostile. Wellon, go to location. Nope, don't need to open. Which way around did it go? Arrive the first Arcasian soldiers to Lesbia this week. Right, so Arcasian soldiers have turned up in Lesbia. Here, Lesbia. Arcasia. Here? Yes. So they've now gone and put a whole bunch of soldiers. Wow, that's actually quite a big jump forward as well towards Contana. I mean, they've had potentially forward bases in here, now to having forward bases in here. That is quite a big jump. That is quite a big jump. Let's go back to our own problems. And I want to take a lovely evening walk with Monica. It was early evening, still light out with just a faint nip in the air. Frank was at a friend's and Deanna was at an art class. Monica and I decided to go for a walk before dinner. Our favourite place for a stroll was the nearby Capitol Park, the largest green space in all of Holsord. Before the children were born, we had spent many an evening engaged in deep conversation along the riverside promenade. Another favoured path wound through the woods behind the presidential housing complex, to a private pond where the children could swim in summer. I was told that Sol himself had it built, the benefits of being president. Monica met me by the door and we put on our coats and hats. I was going to suggest we walk towards Sol Square, but the guards told me it's been closed for yet another protest. I wonder who they are protesting this time. What does it matter? They are two sides of the same coin. The Anton I knew in university would never have said that. Uh-oh. When you become president changes one's perspective. In any case, where should we go? I'm not sure Capitol Park is a wise idea in this climate, either. Nonsense. Alright, let's go then, before the children get home. I informed the guards about our route, and we left the house. The guards followed us with a black Cadilla as we exited the gates. Walking briskly, we reached Capitol Park in minutes. As we entered the park, Monica broke the silence. So, how was your day? How was yours? Avoiding my question, are we? Very well. Oh, it was fine. I caught up on some reading while the children were at school. As we reached the river, we saw Ionis Krona, the former Minister of Justice, walking in the opposite direction. I remembered that Nia Morgner used to be his vice minister. He gave us a quick nod of acknowledgement. Ionis had once fought hard and strong against Sol's judiciary reforms, but after years of the government blocking his every move, he gave up on his ideals and became a part of the administration. What did our ideals really mean if they could be changed so easily? What about the people we idolize? Evelyn also came round for tea. She says hi. She was feeling rather low though. Apparently she and Peter had a bit of a disagreement. How'd it happen? Apparently Peter had too much whiskey as usual, and didn't behave when Evelyn's father was over for dinner yesterday. You know Peter, what do you think of this? I'll have a talk with him. Good, Evelyn seems close to tears. Aren't you glad we don't have these kind of quarrels? She didn't say anything. You know, Evelyn hasn't been the same since what happened to her at Holsword Post last year. You remember how she got fired for supporting Alfonso? Peter tried everything to get her job back, but it didn't work. Sad day for journalism and free speech. I completely agree, a sad day indeed. But enough about the Vecturns. I also spoke to Janice on the phone. Who? Remind me who Janice is? You remember my friend from university. We were in the Swordist literature class together. A few years younger than me, red hair, scar on her forehead. We had dinner with her and her husband once or twice. Neither the name nor the description rang a bell. I don't remember her, but go on. Anyway, she's been working as an executive assistant at the Violet Pictures film studio. She recently became pregnant and asked her boss for paid maternity leave, and guess what? She was fired for it. After asking for maternity leave, that's terrible. I was beside myself when she told me, and that's not all. They immediately replaced her with a younger, less experienced man, the son of an executive, no less. So she called the First Lady to ask for help. She called a friend. She knows this is something I'm passionate about. As it happens, another friend works for a television station that's hiring secretaries, so I connected the two of them. That doesn't solve the deeper problem, though. Exactly, I knew you'd be on the same page. Women in this country are still seen as wives and mothers first, human beings second. They're harassed at work, underpaid, blocked from positions of power, and those are the lucky ones. The fact that there are still places in this country where little girls like Deanna are denied the right to an education. Go on. These little girls and people like Janice need someone to speak on their behalf, a role model, a successful woman. We were right in front of one of the park benches that lined the river. Monica gestured to it, and we sat down. Which brings me to my point. I know that the mayor of Anrica, Curtin Lest, will be delivering a speech at the annual opening of the Benfey Festival. My wish is to take his place and deliver the speech instead. Lest was one of Sworden's most influential politicians. He had started his career in Benfey before rising to power in Anrica. Benfey's current mayor had personally invited him to make the opening speech. Replacing him with Monica would likely anger him, probably not enough to cause a huge incident, but enough that he might use his influence over the Conservatives to block me in the assembly. I want to base the speech on women's rights in Swordland, on the oppression and discrimination we face every day on the basis of our sex alone. I want our voice heard, and this festival is the time to do it. I just need your blessing as my husband and the president of Swordland. Remember, my time with the Swordist League of Women in university. You supported me then, I'm asking you to support me now. Monica's eyes were blazing with fire. A fire I hadn't seen since we were students. She wanted this, badly. But I had to be careful with my promises. Does it have to be at the festival? It has to be now. Thousands go to the festival and millions watch the speeches at home. Swordland's women can't wait any longer. Oh, yay. I don't want to anger the other guy. And, you know, seeming like I'm just giving favors to my own wife, I feel like that's, you know, blocking other people, simply like, nah, it's my wife, she can do what she wants. I feel like that's a bit of an abuse of power. I'm gonna have to go absolutely not. I don't understand, isn't this something we care about as well? I can't make Curtin less angry. What little trouble this causes in the short term is nothing compared to the lasting positive change it will bring. Not just for women, but for all of Swordland. I don't think so. Silent for a while, then she finally spoke. There was a chill in her voice. If that's how you feel, so be it. Wow. Ooh. Well, that's called marital problems, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to use your political power to support me, I'm not talking to you. Like, oh my god! Oh, it's leveled out, ladies and gentlemen! It's leveled out! It's flat! Oh my god! It's finally flat! Yeah, no, I mean, I will put her up to speak in many events, but simply replacing someone who's been requested and is already booked, and simply, I feel like abusing my presidential power? You know, I mean... Oh. The General Staff convened at Camp Strongarm. A session much longer than usual concluded with a disastrous military analysis of Swordland's field capabilities. The Chief of the Armed Forces, Valken Kruger, made a public press statement condemning the administration in its efforts to weaken the most important branch of the government. Ouch. There have been several incidents of religious violence committed by Bluedish Golcondists in Daya. The attacks targeted members of other religious groups, resulting in injuries and property damage. In a treacherous attack, the BFF has bombed a police station in Daya. Initial casualties reported that 3 officers dead and 22 injured. Perpetrators have escaped into the Gumrun Mountains near Suzerain, and a search was started to bring them to justice. The border guard has been notified of the attackers in case they try to flee to Wellen. The Workers' Party of Bludia condemned the incident. Right. Okay, so I have 2 incidences. Briefing on the railway issues. Great. Discussions of changes to the tax system. Great. News. Golcondist violence in Swordland. Yep. A game changer. News of international interest in Gasm continues to spread as reports confirm that Anraka and Quinnell, alongside Gamland, are also considering a significant investment. This potential injection of foreign capital could drastically alter the financial landscape of the struggling Swordish energy giant, promising a potential turnaround. Explosion in Daya, 3 killed, 22 wounded. Debt nation, Swordland in a tough spot. Current public reports from the Ministry of Economy are pointing to a deeply underlying problem with Swordland economical standing. Debt. Oh yeah, we in debt. There's no argument about that. Progress on Ayotaki plan boosts Nibia and surrounding nations. The ambitious Ayotaka plan, led by the astute Vice Secretary Chairman Toke Zintli Ayotaki, continues its march in Nibia and has expanded its influence into neighboring nations such as Zealand, East Dorguk, Sonsamia, and beyond. Despite facing a myriad of controversies and the inherent challenges of implementing vast socio-economic transformations, the CSP's propagandist agenda is undeniably poised to determine Rika's trajectory. Chancellor announces Arcasian base on Ravnos Island. Publicly denounced the base from Vagsland, shock and horror. Smollett condemns Arcasian shoulders in Lesbia. We read that, I believe, from Wellen. Yes, we read that. Let's go and close that. Sorry, what was this one again? Discussions of the changes to the tax system. Right. Let's go. So this we're going to get, hopefully, to its 3rd point. What else has happened? Situations. There are currently peaceful protests taking place throughout the country in response to recent events. However, if the situation is not effectively managed, there is a risk that these peaceful demonstrations may escalate into more violent ones. Unruly. We have unruly generals. Yes, we do, because we took away all of their budget. So let's start with the railway construction. The Alwyn Railway construction created the perfect opportunity to visit the green technological nerve center of Swordland. Dozens of electrical engineers from the city were part of the electrical Electrification upgrade of the rail track. The main purpose of our visit was to solve construction issues that began to endanger the deadline. The Galsword Research Council was very willing to let us use their facilities because the reactors were pleased by the increase of the education funding. The rectors, sorry. Simon looked a little more stressed than usual. Gus was also here to find a solution. He eyed me for a while. Taurus Holding has reached out to us and requested more funds. As per the report they have sent, to finish the railway on time, they realized more capital is necessary due to the new labor laws. We scheduled the construction to finish sooner, but Taurus Holding might miss that target with the current trajectory. It is unfortunate, but construction can be disrupted when costs change dramatically. I know that something was wrong when they offered the contract for cheaper. Underhaul wouldn't have had this problem due to their wealth of experience. If this causes a delay, it would also cause us to lose face in front of the eyes of the public. Sinking more money into Taurus isn't ideal either. I do not permit incompetence. Rather than incompetence, according to their report, their expenses increased drastically due to the new bill increasing workers' costs. They should have seen this coming. If they didn't, which is the case, that's incompetency. One thing is for certain, our administration must avoid working with Taurus in the future and opt for safe choices like Underhaul. The SEC could be a partner. Not the fossil of a company. If anybody will have timeline issues, it is them. The question is, are we going to give Taurus the funds they requested? What is your decision, Mr. President? This has to finish. Regardless, the decision is made. Well, thank you for coming. This is all that matters. Thank you, everyone. -8. Eventually, I'm going to have to stop spending. And now we have a conversation on tax. We were at the top floor of the Business Council building, which had a great view of the beautiful Lacavan. I looked outside from the tall glass windows. The Markian Sea stretched as far as the eye could see, and it was dotted with many ships towards the horizon. They were mostly cargo ships, carrying precious goods in and out of Swordland. Tracing back the paths of the ships, I looked at the harbour. Lacavan was home to one of the largest harbours in the entire continent. Many dockyard workers were loading or unloading the containers. Work never stopped here. The door opened. Simon, Mikhail, and Edith. That's Simon, I know him. Mikhail Evan, co-chairman of the NBC and chairman of the Central Bank. Okay. Hang on. What's NBC? National Business Council. Okay. Mr. President. Mr. President, so nice to see you again. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Yes, I actually remember him from now his portrait's become a bit bigger. It's good to see you all again. Simon put down his bag on the table and started collecting his documents whilst the others slowly took their seats. Mr. President, before we start, I would like to mention some rumors that I heard. Workers' Rights Act did not sit well with many business holders, especially the first section about the minimum wages. I heard the same. This has caused these businesses to lose millions of rents just overnight. Unfortunate, really, especially during a recession. What is unfortunate was that this bill was enacted this late. Neither of them responded. Simon waited patiently. Once everyone was ready, he adjusted his glasses. First of all, I would like to thank everyone here for their work on our tax system reform. We all know how complicated our current system is, and this work wouldn't be possible without you. The ultimate goal here is to end the recession. Oh, no, that's now slightly down again by the looks of it. Or maybe I'm looking at it slightly sideways. That looks like it's mildly down. Maybe I got too excited. Before we move ahead and start formulating a plan, we need to determine our direction, Mr. President. We have a few possibilities as a result of the work we have done so far. We can increase, maintain, or decrease the taxes for large corporations. I believe some of us in the room have a few strong opinions about this. In parallel, we can increase, maintain, or decrease the taxes for small and medium businesses. Let's start with the large corporations and we'll move on to small businesses. What is the outcome if we increase the taxes for large corporations? Simply put, if we increase the taxes, we will have more government budget to spend, which may come in handy. On the other hand, it's not directly helping us revitalize the economy. Our government is already in debt. This might be a way to get out of that debt. I do believe there is one way to get out of recession. It is through the trade and economic contribution of large corporations. Increasing their taxes will turn them on you. I will go a step further. Increasing their taxes will have disastrous results, and it will make you an enemy of them. Trust me, Mr. President, nobody wants to make an enemy of them. Goes both ways, Mr. Arvin. Of course. What if we decrease taxes? It is not an option at this point. Our state is broke. We are barely functioning with the help of taxes. We could balance it by increasing the taxes. I see. Is there any downside to keeping things as they are? I'm of the opinion that if we don't make any changes, nothing will change. To stop the recession, we need to do something. I think so too. Agreed. What does everyone think we should do? I don't think we can do anything at this point, although I would have preferred a decrease in taxes. It doesn't seem to be the best option. Our international trade is driven mostly by the products of these corporations. They are the backbone of our economy. An increase should be out of the question. These companies are the backbone of our economy and our way out of the recession. We want to ensure the economy is on a balanced track, as further deterioration might have drastic consequences. Now, obviously, I want budget. I very much want budget. Maintain the taxes for large corporations. This will not change anything. We won't gain anything by standing still where we are. I protest against this. Take a note of our actions, and I will put it to implementation as soon as possible. Let's move on to small and medium businesses. What's the outcome if we increase taxes? They are the backbone of our economy and are compromised of mostly regular people. If we start demanding more money from them in taxes, it might cause the public to harbour ill will towards the government. We need to get out of debt one way or another. This can be a solution for us. I think increasing taxes for these smaller corporations is a good way to earn some extra capital so that the government can give it back to the people in due time. In the long run, increasing the taxes for small and medium businesses would make people happier with the services the government provides. You might be right. Keeping things as they are. Needs change to get out of recession, but the current state of the economy is in shambles. There is not much change we can do about the taxes. What if we decrease? That's not a possibility. Increase the taxes. We will look into how we're about implementing changes very well. Thank you very much. That'll be all for today. Enjoy Lakavan. I went by the windows again and kept watching the sea in silence for some more time. You know, I mean, nobody wants their taxes increased, and I didn't really want to do it to the large corporations because they'd all turn against me, and I feel like they are important for our economic growth. That, I feel, has taken a dip down again. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but I feel like it has. Alfonso Foundation asks for donation. Okay. Gunnery Rural Development Plan near completion. A brainchild of the Rural Development Minister Gus Manga is nearing completion in Hulsor. This strategy aims to revitalize the rural economy, fortify food security, and enhance the regional economy of Grooney. The upcoming presentation of the finalized plan marks a significant milestone in the evolution of Sordland's rural development agenda. We have visit and inspection of schools in Liran. And we have 2 worldwide problems. Queen Beatrice Livingston calls Sordland a threat to world peace. What? But a threat to peace in the entire world. She condemned the riots and police violence in Sordland, also expressing her worries about the direction Sordland is headed. She urged the Rumbringhan armies to secure the southern border, citing violent incidents in northern Sordland. ATO Economic Summit in Perla, capitalism's diverse forms. The ATO has taken steps to strengthen its economic front by hosting a pivotal summit in Perla. The summit convened leaders and economic experts from ATO nations, setting the stage for high-level discussions about the global economy. Central to the disclosure with the divergent yet complementary economic ideologies of Arcasian capitalism and lesbian protectionism. Okay then. And in news, the deputy of the National Front Party is raising alarm bells over relaxed immigration policies, citing potential harm to Sordland's societal and demographic fibre. Tax increases for small and medium corporations. As per the information provided by the Ministry of Economy, the new changes include a tax increase of 10%, bringing the total to 45% for small and medium-sized corporations. President Rain has approved the tax reform. Yes, I have. Young Sword denies allegations. The Vice President of the Young Swords Cultural Centres made an announcement today denying having ties to terror attacks. I or a cultural organization pose no threat to the national security of Swordland or to any other foreign country or state. Torrent Hill School wins award. The National School Rankings have announced that their results for the 1955 school metrics. Surprisingly, in the category of primary and secondary education, the Torrent Hill School has surpassed all others with the highest average results achieved in the student performance, discipline, facilities, hygiene, and staff happiness categories. Education experts believe that the principal and the head teachers excelled in taking responsibility for their duties, which led to a better performance in many aspects. The one editorial team found out about how much delegation occurred in staff that even included diligent teenagers to improve and maintain the operations of the school. Rain attacks small and medium businesses. Yep, somebody had to call it out. Red Youth calls for peace. Earlier today, John Gasmick of the Leaders of the Red Youth spoke to the public and condemned the opportunistic looting and violent taking place in cities across Swordland, saying it is not being done in the name of Bernard's Circus. He denied terrorist allegations and condemned the attack, saying the Red Youth has no connection to the violence. He accused the police of trying to sway the public opinion against socialism. Some people are trying to incite violence against us, geopolitical. Smolik threatens new military incursions targeting BFF. Has threatened to launch military operations in northern Welland, close to the borders of Swordland and Lesbia, against the Bludish rebel group, the BFF, which Raklowitz considers to be a terrorist organization. In a televised interview to curry support for the next month's referendum to extend his presidential powers, Smolik announced that the military is preparing a new internal operation with proposed possible cross-border implications against the BFF. Okay, so yes, we are 3 points in now. And what did we have again? Alfonso asked for donation. I'm going to visit and inspect the school first. The prestigious Torrent Hill School was situated close to the suburbs just outside the city centre. The building was flanked by 2 hills, each beautifully dotted with shrubs and flowers. Lucian, Ciara, and I got out of our cars and met at the entrance. Our presence had not gone unnoticed. Apart from our guards, there were at least 10 reporters following us around. That must be the principal. Right this way, sir. The principal was a man of short stature and a bushy moustache and a pair of glasses. He approached us quickly, but was stopped by the security guards. They started patting him down and searching him. Wait for them to finish. Mr. President, such an honor to meet with you. Shake his hand. Welcome to our humble school. Sorry about the security guards, it's a necessary standard procedure. Excellent. You must be Mr. Gallard. It's a pleasure to meet you. And Miss Welder, so good of you to come all the way out here. Thank you. At the entrance, the school's motto was inscribed on the wall in giant letters. In Stretton, cis Anginica av Gregna, int Ola Almug Waltine, int Ola Mexis. Education is the premise of progress in all societies and all families. We walk through the gates. There are many students lined up in front of the stairs of the main building. And the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen. The principal proudly looked at them. Marvelous, my dear students. After the anthem finished, all of the students immediately snapped to attention and turned to me. Looks more like a military institution than a school. Exactly, that's what we pride ourselves on. Discipline has the utmost importance in our school. Very good. Ciara frowned and shook her head. Glad you liked it, Mr. President. Now we watch the students take their daily student oath. A boy and a girl went up to the stage and grabbed their microphones. The students turned to them. I am a sword, my strength lies in my blood. I will respect our honorable elders, I will protect the young. My life belongs to Swordland now, and it will belong to it forever. I will always follow the guiding light. Of Colonel Sol and the great swords. A Morgna Westcor Vecton Sis. Do nothing. Words to remember. No one even remembers it after they graduate. If you wish to follow me, we will take a look at one of our classrooms. Through the hallways, we made our way to classroom 7A. As soon as I entered, the whole classroom rose up and snapped to attention. Sit down, please. The students sat down. The same boy and girl walked up to us. These are our top students and our top class. This here is my son. The boy came before me and saluted me like a military officer. Now, Mr. President, what you want to be? I want to be a general, sir. I am ready to sacrifice myself for my country and you, sir. What are you teaching these students? Was it not to your liking? I'm so sorry, Mr. President. The cameras flashed. This is simply ridiculous. You are raising soldiers here, not students. I am so sorry. I would immediately perform disciplinary actions. How about you, young lady? What do you think about this? She is our top student in the school. Her excellent grades are to... I didn't ask you. She bent down and gently addressed the young student. What do you think about your school, just between us girls? I'm sick of having to knit and sew while the boys learn science and chemistry. I'm smarter than all of them. Why do I have to take these stupid handcraft classes? Do you know who you are talking? Shut up, let her speak. Ciara's presence had emboldened the girl, she went on. My math and reading scores are the best in the school, but they won't let me take the classes I want just because I'm a girl. I want to be a scientist, not some soldier's wife. We need more people like you in this country. I applaud your determination. We need action. Concrete action. We need to protect girls like this. I looked around the classroom and saw a large portrait of Colonel Sol. Take that down. That's a portrait of Colonel Sol. We can't just take it down. Lucian, do it. Lucian took the frame down and gave it to the principal. Even the reporters looked confused for a minute before taking many photos of the portrait being taken down. Ciara was smiling, and when she realized I was looking at her, she nodded. Well then, unfortunately we are almost out of time. We have other meetings to attend to today. Thank you for the warm welcome. Mr. President, Lucian, please go ahead. I would like to speak with the girl alone. Thank you for the tour. Thank you for visiting our school, sir. Come on, class. 1, 2. All students in the classroom yelled, but the boy whom I met was the loudest. Amorgna West Corps. Leave. After another round of photos, we departed. So, and there's going to be lots of news coming out of that one. President visits school in Liren. Was in East Swordland, welcome the special visitors. President Rain had expressed he wished to visit successful Torin Hill School. Though this visit, Torin Hill is delighted to have had an opportunity to represent about prayer language. Today, Kasaro Kibana, the leader of NFP, has proposed the Swordish Prayer Language Act to the Assembly. The proposal bill aims to standardize the language of prayer to Swordish in the entire Swordland. Prayer language has always been a controversial topic, as most of the religious ceremonies in the Burgia region, where most of the Bluedish population resides, conduct their prayers in Bluedish. The proposal has caused heated discussion between the Bluedish MPs and NFP. A new star in Geralt's Wine Sky. The revered dandelion label from Erleroy introduces a new wine, carrying forward the rich viticultural legacy of Geralt of Ribery. Wine enthusiasts and critics alike eagerly anticipate the debut of this new vintage, expected to carry the hallmark floral tones and elegant synonyms with dandelion wines. Rain brings Sol's portrait down. During the school visit in Liren, President Rain was captured on cameras asking the school staff to bring Tarquin Sol's portraits down. The event sparked controversy and raised questions about the president's intentions. The highly prestigious school of Torin Hill has been one of the best educated, yet according to reports from the visit, President Rain was not fond of the quality and content of the education in the facilities. President Rain ordered Tarquin Sol's portraits to be brought down from the walls of the school, increasing the doubts about his loyalty to his party and its founder. Many nationalists and moderates, many of which also voted for Rain, have raised their concerns about President Rain's actions. Fluctuating energy prices. The energy market in Swordland is experiencing a period of increased intense fluctuation. Over the past few months, the average price per kilowatt hour has seen peaks and troughs ranging from a worrying high of 12 to a relieving low of -8. President Rain, the USP, and the Colonel. Known to be proudly Solist establishment, Torin Hill School is one of the most popular middle schools in Swordland. During the visit, the president was seen speaking with the pupils and school staff before he ordered the removal of Tarquin Sol's portrait. It may very well have been just for show or a sign that there are widening cracks between President Rain and the USP. Arcasian PMCS accused of sowing discord in Eastern Xena. Queen Al has accused Arcasian private military companies, namely Cerberus International and Palantir Security Solutions, of destabilizing Eastern Xena. The allegation suggests these PMCs are resorting to piracy and unauthorized resource extraction, potentially violating international norms and regulations being upheld by XEC, such nations such as Zelina, Narashima, and Fenxiao, and more. Okay. And problems. Situations. Small businesses stagnate. Yes. Increased cost of doing business has also led to a decline in the quality of goods and services provided. Yeah, but on the other hand, country has taken steps to address the issue of tax evasion in many parts of society, but it still remains a significant problem. While progress has been made in reducing the level of tax avoidance, there are still many areas where individuals and businesses continue to evade taxes, resulting in a loss of revenue. And, off the map, we have a problem up here, United Contana. Advocates dissolution of Meftium ITS. Of the Meftium International Trade Zone. This strategic location in Morellan territory, and complemented by a strategically vital port, has been the joint venture of Rizian, Morellan, Lesbian, and Vauxland state corporations since the pre-revolutionary era. Yet the recent ascension of Alma Sultana to the premiership of Morcella has sparked a seismic shift in this arrangement. With the staunch backing from Vauxland, Prime Minister Sultana has declared intentions to nationalize the mines and port, a move that potentially upends the status quo and alters the trajectory of the region's economic future. Okay. Back in my own country, in Erleroy, Geralt unveils newest wine and sends message. Has introduced a new wines with Steam collection and wrote a little note to accompany it. Wine, like politics, operates not on a scale of lesser or greater, but on the spectrum of nuanced complexity. The distinctions are subjective, the flavors are as variable as policy decisions. As a winemaker studies the subtle notes in each grape, a politician must examine the unique shades of each strategy. Okay. And so let's go here where the Alfonso is going to ask for a donation. Fundraising campaign asking for donations. The mission is twofold: addressing the homelessness crisis and battling income inequality. Yeah. I will do it. I now have no personal wealth. I am a poor, poor man. And we have the situations of Liren State Guest House Liren, briefing on the proposal of education reform. And wait, did I see? No, just that. Okay, just that. That is all we have at this stage. But we are going to leave the episode there, ladies and gentlemen. We have made our first negative decision. We raised taxes on small and medium businesses, which is now going to put strains on things. We have, as I said, made our first negative decision because we cannot keep simply throwing money at things, and I have thrown far too much money at far too many things in the initial stages to get things done. However, I believe I have made much bigger changes for the positive. I feel like I'm justifying everything. Like, I feel like I'm going to turn into an actual politician here. Much bigger changes on the positive, and I made them earlier, so I am genuinely hoping that they have a much bigger effect going forward compared to just the small and medium business opportune point. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, it could all be horrible. With the loss of small and medium businesses, a lot of things could in fact crumble, and we could end up with a very polarized economic situation, I think, potentially, with a lot of big businesses being growing strong and continuing, and a lot of small businesses and etc. not existing, and so you end up with just a few big monopolies. So it may be a decision that very much comes back to bite me, but we'll find out, won't we, ladies and gentlemen? And so until next episode, thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed it, and until we see you again, I hope that you will stay safe, happy, and healthy.